Good evening. Welcome to California Today. I'm David Zhang. Here is a preview of some of today's top stories. An armed man allegedly posed as a U.S. Marshal during an event with presidential candidate RFK Jr. The man has since been arrested. The L.A. Sheriff's Department mourns the death of a deputy who was believed to have been ambushed and killed. A suspect has been arrested. 2 California pilots lost their lives in a fatal crash. Tragedy took place during an air racing event in Nevada. An unarmed man had allegedly posed as a U.S. Marshal outside an event in Los Angeles, where presidential candidate RFK Jr. spoke. The man has been arrested. NTD's Jason Blair has more.
Adrian Pauly Spiro was taken into custody by Los Angeles police around 4:40 p.m. after they received a call about a man claiming to be associated with the event. He allegedly had a U.S. Marshal badge and a shoulder holster with a gun. The event was being held at Wilshire Ebell Theater celebrating National Hispanic Heritage Month. Presidential candidate RFK Jr. spoke at the event.
The homeless in California are not coming from other states. They are almost all coming from California, many of them from neighborhoods where they formerly lived in a home.
Kennedy found out about the arrest after his speech. He wrote on X, formerly known as Twitter, quote, "I'm very grateful that alert and fast-acting protectors from Gavin Day Becker and Associates spotted and detained an armed man." On Monday, Kennedy's office released an open letter to President Biden urging him to provide Secret Service, which has previously been denied. The letter says, quote, "The threat level to our candidate, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., is increasing every day, and I ask you in the spirit of patriotism, of fairness, and of good conscience to grant Robert F. Kennedy Jr. the Secret Service protection that his circumstances so obviously warrant." According to U.S. law, Secret Service is tasked to, quote, "major presidential and vice presidential candidates and within 120 days of the general presidential election." Reporting in California, Jason Blair, NTD News.
A fallen sheriff's deputy in Los Angeles County. The officer was shot and killed while on patrol by what is believed to be an ambushed attack. The suspect was arrested early this morning.
The Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department said they have arrested a 29-year-old man, Kevin Catellano Salazar, early Monday morning for shooting and killing Deputy Ryan Klinkenbrummer. In a press conference on Monday morning, the sheriff said they served a search warrant at the suspect's residence in Palmdale.
During that operation, deputies surrounded the residence and called out all the occupants of that residence. Eventually, family members did come out. The suspect chose to barricade himself and refused to initially come out. He barricaded himself for several hours.
Eventually, after deploying chemical tear gas, the suspect surrendered. Klinkenbrummer was shot inside his patrol car on Saturday night. Videos on the Citizen app showed officers transporting him to a local hospital in critical condition, but passed away. According to Sheriff Robert Luna, the 30-year-old had just left the Palmdale Sheriff's Station when he was ambushed at 6 p.m. A widely circulated video from the incident showed a dark gray Toyota Corolla traveling alongside the deputy's patrol car.
Investigators recovered numerous firearms and the vehicle of interest that was depicted in the flyer that we put out yesterday at our press conference.
On Sunday night, the department held a procession from Antelope Valley Medical Center to the coroner's office. According to the sheriff's office, he was an 8-year veteran who served the Palmdale and Antelope Valley communities. He was a third-generation deputy. His father and grandfather also served the community. The fallen deputy leaves behind his fiancée, mother, and father.
This is a statement from the family. Our son Ryan was a dedicated, hardworking deputy sheriff who enjoyed working here at the Palmdale station. He was proud to work along the side of his partners that he considered brothers and sisters as he sacrificed daily to better the community that he served.
Authorities are confident only one person was responsible for the murder, but the investigation is still ongoing.
Tragedy struck over the weekend as 2 pilots lost their lives in a fatal aircraft collision, leaving a community in mourning. NTD's Christina Corona has more.
2 California-based pilots lost their lives when their aircrafts crashed while attempting to land at an air racing event in Reno on Sunday. According to the Reno Air Racing Association, the planes collided at the conclusion of the T6 Gold Race at approximately 2:15 p.m. The association identified the pilots as Nick Macy and Chris Rushing. Rushing flew out of Van Nuys and Macy flew out of Tule Lake. The Reno Air Racing Association described both men as expertly skilled pilots and gold winners in the T6 class. The crash occurred during the final day of the national championship air races in Reno. Authorities said there were no other reported injuries. Christina Corona, NTD News, California.
A Southern California school district has agreed to pay millions after a family sued them for neglecting their 8th grade boy who was bullied to death. Before he was beaten, the boy allegedly complained to the assistant principal that he was being bullied.
The Moreno Valley Unified School District on Wednesday agreed to pay $27 million to settle a lawsuit after 13-year-old Diego Stoltz was punched at Landmark Middle School in September 2019. One of the teens struck the boy in the head from behind and he fell, hitting his head against a pillar. The teens then continued punching Stoltz, who died 9 days later from a brain injury. The attack was recorded on video. In a news release, Dave Ring, an attorney for the Stoltz family, said schools need to realize that bullying can never be tolerated and that any complaints of bullying and assault must be taken seriously. The Moreno Valley Unified School District does not have a district statement for the media, but forwarded an email sent to the district's families and staff saying, "The news of Diego's death was not something we took lightly. The safety and well-being of our students will remain our top priority." They have also set up various anti-bullying efforts. The teens, who were 14 at the time of the attack, spent 47 days in juvenile custody. The judge declined to sentence them to more jail time, but ordered that they undergo anger management therapy.
California Governor Gavin Newsom said yesterday he would sign legislation pertaining to emissions disclosure. The bill would require large companies to disclose what he calls greenhouse gas emissions. The bill requires companies in California with a turnover of at least $1 billion per year to disclose what he calls their Scope 1, 2, and 3 emissions. Newsom also said that he would sign a related bill that would force large corporations to disclose what he calls their climate-related financial risks. The bill is expected to apply to nearly 5,500 companies. Multinational companies including Apple and Microsoft have voiced their support for the bill, which some lawyers say could still be challenged in court. The move comes shortly after the state sued several major oil companies, including ExxonMobil and Chevron. According to a court filing, the companies are accused of playing down risks posed by fossil fuels and causing tens of billions of dollars in damages, as well as deceiving the public. To avoid blackouts, the California legislature approves a bill to buy more wind energy. The money would come from a surcharge imposed on Californians' electricity bills.
California lawmakers approved a bill on September 14th to give permission to the state to buy massive amounts of electricity from the wind industry. The move aims to avoid blackouts during extreme heat waves. An extreme heat wave in 2020 overwhelmed the state's power grid and left hundreds of thousands of homes in the dark for a few hours over the course of 2 days. The state legislature has since spent $3.3 billion to build a, quote, strategic reliability reserve that uses gas-powered generators. But some lawmakers say this is not clean energy and generates air pollution. To meet the goal of switching to renewable or non-carbon sources by 2045, the state has to buy power from the offshore wind projects. These would help generate power at night when solar energy is not abundant. 5 companies paid $750 million last year to lease areas off the California coast to build wind turbines. Collectively, those projects could generate enough electricity to power 3.5 million homes. The money would come from a surcharge imposed on Californians' electricity bills. Opponents say the bill would make every single ratepayer in California pay for this. Supporters argue the bill will save people money in the long run on their electricity bills. Under the new bill, the Department of Water Resources has the authority to purchase the power until 2035.
California is proposing to increase utility bills for PG&E customers. The utility company says they need to pay for burying the power lines to prevent wildfire. So the Public Utilities Commission has a proposal.
Under a new proposal, power bills for about 16 million people in Northern California will likely increase $25 or $28 for every residential customer. This comes after the California Public Utilities Commission released 2 data proposals on Wednesday for Pacific Gas and Electric. PG&E had initially asked for rate increases large enough to boost its revenue by 26%, but after the once every 4 years review, the Commission only approved to increase revenue by a maximum of 13%. PG&E had asked for more revenue to pay for a plan to bury about 2,000 miles of power lines to help prevent wildfires. But the Utility Reform Network has proposed that a faster and cheaper way to reduce wildfire risk is to insulate power lines instead of burying them. The executive director for the Utility Reform Network added that the increases to monthly bills requested by PG&E is far beyond the cost of inflation. PG&E's rates have been pending a decision for over 2 years.
We'll take a short break now, but here's a look at what we have for you when we come back. U.S. representatives have launched an investigation into the Chinese-owned biolab found in Fresno County. Lawmakers have issued a subpoena for more documents. Actress Drew Barrymore calls off the premiere of her talk show. This comes as the Hollywood writers' strike continues to put the entertainment industry on pause. Police officers serve and protect the community in many ways. Today, officers from Union City are helping the community by serving lunch. Those stories and more coming up on California Today. Welcome back to California Today. I'm your host, David Zhang. The House China panel has issued a subpoena to investigate a Chinese-owned biolab found in Fresno County. Multiple agencies from the state and federal levels have joined the investigation.
The House Select Committee on the Chinese Communist Party has issued its first ever subpoena for documents and records regarding a Chinese-owned biolab found in Greeley City in Fresno County. Republican Representative Mike Gallagher of Wisconsin, who is the chairman of the committee, issued the subpoena last week. He says, quote, "It is deeply disturbing that a Chinese company set up a clandestine facility in small-town America that contained, per the CDC, at least 20 potentially infectious agents like HIV and the deadliest known form of malaria. The American people deserve answers, and we will get to the bottom of this issue to ensure that our adversaries are not endangering the safety of Americans on our soil." The secret lab Prestige Biotech, formerly known as Universal Meditech, is owned by the Chinese and Chinese Canadians. Thousands of vials of bacteria and viral agents, including coronavirus, chlamydia, E. coli, streptococcus pneumonia, HIV, hepatitis, herpes, rubella, and malaria, were discovered at the site. And nearly 1,000 lab mice were found in poor condition, and hundreds of rats were dead. The House Energy and Commerce Committee, Greeley City, Fresno County, and multiple agencies from the state and federal levels have also joined the investigation of the lab.
One Southern California priest is being charged with the possession of child pornography. NTD's Christina Corona has more on the story.
Prosecutors in Ventura County have brought charges against a Long Beach priest, accusing him of possessing over 600 images and videos containing child pornography, emphasizing the significant power, authority, and trust vested in the defendant as a priest. District Attorney Eric Nazarenko said the alleged offenses seriously breach this trust and involve a disturbing quantity of explicit material featuring young boys. The priest has been identified as 38-year-old Rodolfo Martinez Guevara, who's affiliated with the Archdiocese of Los Angeles. The photos and videos allegedly in his possession have been described as child sexual abuse content, with authorities noting that the majority of them depict boys, including some who are prepubescent minors under 12 years old. Nazarenko said these are not mere images and videos. If proven true, they represent the appalling exploitation of our most vulnerable, and the defendant's actions will be met with the full weight of the law. The investigation into Martinez Guevara began after several reports about the priest were received by the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. The Ventura County Child Exploitation and Human Trafficking Task Force initiated its independent investigation in April 2023, leading to the arrest of Martinez Guevara 5 months later. As a member of the Missionaries of the Holy Spirit, Martinez Guevara had affiliations with multiple churches, including Our Lady of Guadalupe in Oxnard. His arraignment has been scheduled for September 15th, and he is currently in custody, with the bail set at $750,000. Christina Corona, NTD News, Los Angeles.
Actress Drew Barrymore is calling off the premiere of her talk show after backlash amid the Hollywood strikes. The Writers and Actors Union accused her of violating the strike by taping new episodes. Here's more.
Yielding to the outcry of criticism, Barrymore on Sunday posted a message on Instagram saying, quote, "I have listened to everyone, and I am making the decision to pause the show's premiere until the strike is over. I have no words to express my deepest apologies to anyone I have hurt." The message was a complete reversal from one posted just 2 days earlier, in which Barrymore, in a tearful video, explained that she would proceed with filming because so many jobs were at stake.
I deeply apologize to writers. I deeply apologize to unions. There's a huge question of the why. Why am I doing this? Well, I certainly couldn't have expected this kind of attention. We aren't going to break rules, and we will be in compliance. I wanted to do this because, as I said, this is bigger than me, and there are other people's jobs on the line.
The post was deleted later on Friday. Crew members on the show have been out of work since the writer's strike began in May. Actors have been picketing since July.
The ongoing strike in Hollywood has hit one group hard: janitors. A 43-year-old mother of two says she worries about her family's future after being laid off from a movie studio.
Yolanda Sendejas, a 43-year-old mother of two, is embroidering handmade napkins in hopes of selling them for a small profit. She needs the income because Sendejas lost her job as a studio janitor in May when the union representing Hollywood's writers went on strike. The ongoing writer and actor strikes could not have come at a worse time for Sendejas, who lost her health insurance after she was laid off.
I'm diabetic and I have to get my medicine, so it's a little difficult because medicines bought outside are expensive. Then you start to think your savings are not great. Your medication is expensive, and other expenses to cover are difficult.
Sitting in her small Los Angeles apartment, recovering from surgery which removed a non-malignant tumor, Sendejas said she worries about her family's future.
I feel bad thinking that many months have passed and that there are still months to go, and that I keep thinking about what am I going to do? What is going to happen? My husband's income is not enough to cover all the expenses. And as I mentioned before, I start to think because I have my children.
Sendejas is not alone. The union representing janitors in July joined the Writers Guild and the SAG-AFTRA Actors Union at a rally outside Netflix's offices. The janitors there said they were falling behind on their bills and expressed worry for taking on debt. President of the Janitors Union, David Huerta, said the studios were still cutting jobs.
We're aligned because we all depend on studio production. What's not right is CEOs who are reaping in billions and billions of dollars of profit off the backs of these labor now wants to be able to set the terms going forward, especially in the face of AI.
Actors went on strike in July, joining writers to demand that streaming sites and film studios improve their contracts and impose curbs on the use of artificial intelligence. So far, the fierce labor disputes are dragging on with no end in sight, and thousands of laid-off janitors remain in limbo.
Police departments taking customers' orders this Monday. As part of a law enforcement tip-a-cup fundraiser, members of the local station wait tables. NTD's David Lam has the story.
The Texas Roadhouse in Union City has a new team of servers today. Now, while officers usually serve their community in public service, today they're serving lunch. The annual Tip-a-Cop fundraiser was held at this diner this year, and customers put the department on duty.
I have absolutely zero serving experience. I love the challenge, though.
Ian Hobson has been organizing this every year for the past 3+ years, partnering with restaurants and the Special Olympics, which is Northern California's largest sports organization for those with intellectual disabilities.
I can't say how wonderful it is, really. There's no words, but the athletes are so special. And I have fun, and since my sons are involved, then it's special for them because I'm there. A lot of parents get involved.
This nook of the restaurant was reserved for the program for a one-day, 3-hour lunch period, and diners get a free serving of pulled pork sandwich, steak fries, and a drink.
In a 3-hour period, we're able to give so much back to these athletes who truly look up to the police officers.
Hobson says for a typical Tip-a-Cop event, they can raise several $1,000s in donations, which then goes to the Special Olympics.
This is my second time serving for a Tip-a-Cop event. I've been to plenty of them, but it's my second time. It's an awesome experience, being able to help out for such a, great event as Tip-a-Cop, supporting Special Olympics. It's an awesome opportunity.
Other local police departments participating are Modesto, Fairfield, Tracy, Elk Grove, and Citrus Heights.
We have a philosophy here of just kind of service from the heart, and for that we enjoy bringing community members and the businesses together, and then in this instance it's bringing people who could just use some help through different programs that Special Olympics offers.
Donations can fund equipment, attire, and health supplies that can help transform an athlete's life. Now, this event means a lot to the community. Within the first 30 minutes, it was already getting packed. Now, 100% of the donations raised by the officers would go towards the Special Olympics Northern California. In Union City, California, David Lam, NTD News.
That's all we've got for you tonight. We would like you to join us again on California Today every weekday at 8 p.m. Make sure to check out our broadcasts at ntd.com/California-today. You can also find all of our top latest clips there, ready to share with friends and family. Send us a message on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Gunjin World, or through our email, california.today@ntd.com. I'm David Zhang. Have a wonderful evening.